First up, managing compute. Think of this as the core of operations. It's all that day-to-day stuff, deploying your apps, pushing updates, and making sure they can scale up or down when traffic changes. Okay, so a huge topic on the exam is CI/CD. This flow you're seeing, it's like a textbook example of a modern automated pipeline. So a developer commits some code, right? That kicks off Cloud Build, which builds a container image. That image gets stored in Artifact Registry. And then Cloud Deploy steps into the rollout, first to dev, then staging, and finally to production. And see that last step? That manual approval gate is super common for that extra layer of safety.
And this right here, this shows you how to deploy without holding your breath. Instead of a risky, all-at-once, big bang release, Cloud Run lets you do what's called a canary deployment. So you can see we're sending just 5% of our live traffic to the new version, while 95% of folks stay on the old, stable one. This is so smart because it lets you find bugs before they affect everyone. It's about protecting your users, your money, and your brand.
Now, autoscaling is another must-know, but you got to realize it works differently depending on the service. So with Cloud Run, the magic word is concurrency. It scales based on how many requests a single container can juggle at once. But GKE, totally different ballgame. It uses something called the Horizontal Pod Autoscaler, or HPA, which keeps an eye on CPU and memory. If things get busy, it spins up more pods. If things quiet down, it spins them down. Simple as that.
Automation is awesome, but let's be real. The exam is going to hit you with some manual tasks. You need to get your hands dirty with this stuff, like connecting to a VM securely using IAP, Identity Aware Proxy. This is key because it means no public IPs. Then, you've got to know the difference between a snapshot, which is for backing up a disk, and an image, which is a template for making new VMs. Also, be ready to talk about GKE Autopilot versus Standard. Just remember, Autopilot, Google manages the nodes. Standard, you manage the nodes. And of course, you better get comfy with kubectl, especially for scaling your deployments up or down manually.
All right, let's keep building here. Next up is storage and databases. It's great to have an app running, but what about its data? You have to know how to manage it, and more importantly, how to keep it secure.
When it comes to cloud storage security, you'll see this choice. There's uniform bucket-level access. This is the modern way, the recommended way. All your permissions are in one place, IAM. It's simple, clean, consistent. Then there's the old way, fine-grained access using ACLs on every single object. And trust me, that can get messy fast. So for the exam, just remember, uniform is the way to go. It's the best practice.
Who doesn't want to save money, right? Well, managing storage costs is a huge deal, and lifecycle rules are going to be your best friend. Look at this timeline. It shows a super common policy. An object gets created and lives in fast, standard storage. After 30 days, maybe it moves to cheaper nearline storage. After 90, even cheaper cold line. And after a year, poof, it's deleted. You set this up once, and it just works. It's like cost optimization on autopilot.
Okay, let's talk backups. The exam will definitely ask about different databases. Think of this table as your personal cheat sheet. The key things to remember? Cloud SQL has amazing point-in-time recovery. You can rewind to any second in the last 35 days. Spanner is incredible because it can take a backup of a live database with zero performance hit. And Firestore? It just exports its backups over to cloud storage. All right, let's switch gears to networking. In the cloud, nothing exists in a vacuum. Everything's connected. So you've got to know how to build out your network, expand it, and most importantly, control who can talk to what inside your VPC. So picture this. You're running out of IP addresses in a subnet. What do? Panic? No way. This is a super common task, and one you might see on the exam. You just expand the subnet. You edit the address range to make it bigger. And the best part? Absolutely zero downtime. It's instant and non-disruptive. Now let's talk about connecting whole networks together. That's where VPC peering comes in. It lets two separate VPCs talk to each other like they're on the same network using private IPs. So let's set up a little scenario. You've got VPC A, VPC B, and VPC C. You peer A with B, and you peer B with C. Okay, pay close attention here, because this is a classic exam gotcha. Peering is non-transitive. What does that mean? It means even though A can talk to B and B can talk to C, A cannot talk to C through B. It just doesn't work that way. For A and C to talk, they need their own direct peering connection. Remember that word? Non-transitive. It's important. Okay, we've reached our final topic, observability. And honestly, this might be the most important one. Because think about it,
If you're flying blind, if you can't see what's happening inside your system, how can you possibly operate it well? Your logs are a goldmine of information, and you can turn them into powerful alerts. Take a look at this query. This is a filter for what's called a log-based metric. It's basically telling the system, hey, every single time you see a log from Cloud Run that says payment declined, count it. Just like that, you've turned a boring text log into a real trackable metric that you can graph, dashboard, and, most importantly, alert on.
So what do you do with all those logs? You use log syncs. A sync is just a rule you create. It's super simple. You say, if a log looks like this, send it over to that destination. So you can send compliance logs to a cloud storage bucket for long-term archiving, or maybe stream all your application logs to BigQuery so you can run some really deep analysis on them.
And you know, the whole way we monitor our systems is starting to change. With new tools like Gemini Cloud Assist, you don't always need to be a query wizard. You can just ask a question in plain English, just like you see here. This makes it so much easier and faster for anyone to figure out what's really going on.
What's really cool is that Google Cloud actually tries to help you out proactively. There's this service called the Recommender. It's part of a bigger thing called Active Assist, and it uses machine learning to scan your setup for potential wins. It's like having a helpful assistant that taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, you could shut down this idle VM, or, you could save money by using a smaller machine here, or even, this IAM role has way too many permissions. It's awesome.
So if you put all this together, what do you get? You get what I call the ACE operational mindset. It's all about that balancing act, right? Performance versus cost. It's knowing when to automate and when to do things by hand. It's about securing everything, from the network to your data. And most of all, it's about being proactive, always monitoring, always looking for ways to optimize.
Okay, we've just covered a ton of ground on the core concepts for Section 3. But here's the thing. Watching this is just the first step. The real work starts now. You've got to get into the console, get your hands dirty, and practice these things until they become second nature, until it's all just muscle memory. You've got this. Good luck.